Hello, everybody. Romel Prava here from the Future Real Estate Millionaire Coaching Podcast. We're having a blast today with Lorenzo Perrone, my friends. Lorenzo Perrone and I connected through Facebook. He's a real estate investor, but he also brings a lot of business experience. And we'll be chatting about that, and we'll be chatting about mindset, one of my favorite topics. And I know that Lorenzo is also pretty big on mindset. So we're going to be talking about mindset, self-image, paradigm, Bob Proctor, etc. So to start us, Lorenzo, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing well, thank you. Thanks for having me on, Romel. This has been something we've been planning for a while, and I'm glad we were able to do this tonight for sure.
Perfect. All right. So tell our audience a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Yeah. So sure. I've been an entrepreneur for as long as I can remember. I started my first business when I was in my early 20s, and just something out of experimentation. I wanted to try something. That I was in college at the time, and I was offered a position to do some pressure washing with a company. And I remember I never knew how to do it. I had never done that type of work before, and then I really liked it. It made me think though, because I was like, you know what, I could actually make a go at this. I was good at what I was doing, and I enjoyed it. So that's what really started the entrepreneurship journey for me. But a little bit about me. After that, I just never stopped working for myself. I have been involved in several other businesses. Right now, this company here, Professional Risk Takers, myself and my business partner Matthew, we own this company, and this is like a digital media platform that we've put together, and we also have a podcast called the Professional Risk Takers. And so that's a little bit about me. And I've been around real estate and business my whole life.
Nice. Pressure washing, is that for car? What do you call it? Car detailing business, or?
No, it was for commercial buildings. So basically, what I would do is I had contracts for commercial buildings, and also like commercial sites. For example, at one time I even had a contract for Petro Canada that we would clean all their gas stations, right? The canopies, the storefronts. Yeah, so I did a bunch of that work. Yeah,
beautiful. All right. Okay, and tell us a little bit about your real estate experience. Our podcast is all about real estate, but like I said, one of my favorite topics is mindset. So we're gonna do a deep dive into mindset. But tell us a little bit about your real estate experience.
Yeah, I was introduced to real estate at a very young age because my dad actually was a real estate agent, but he was also an investor in the real estate market. And so growing up, I got to see firsthand, the experience an agent has in that line of work. But what was interesting for me was, as I got older, my teen years, I would help my dad to do a lot of renovation work. So my dad would actually buy homes, and sometimes he would fix them and flip them, or other times he would fix them and have tenants live in them, right? But in every instance where he was fixing them, he was always bringing me along, but I learned a lot. He taught me a lot. Like, I learned how to do like basic home renovations, like tiling, painting, even some basic plumbing work. Basically, what we would do is we would take a house, clean it up, fix it, and then we rent it out. And it was great because that was happening way back when it wasn't even popular to do the fix and flips that we see today. But I saw the lifestyle my dad had in terms of like the freedom of time that he had. Yes, when you have to work, and obviously you have to service the client's needs. But I really looked at that and I was like, that's what I want when I get older too. The flexibility of my own schedule, working kind of on my own terms, and being able to really just carve my own path. And I saw that with my dad, and something that really, that's what I applied when I got older, right? So, yeah.
Right. Awesome. How old were you when you started investing in real estate?
I would have been in the early 2000s, so I would have been in my early 20s, and at that time, I was buying homes right off paper from builders. So in the Durham region, they were building new homes. It was, especially in the Oshawa market, it really was booming at that time in North Oshawa with new home construction. And so that's where I started buying homes like that. And some I'd live in for a little bit and then sell and move on. But it was great, actually. Like, I really enjoyed that aspect because buying off paper, like, you're buying at a very good price, and then as you move in and you live in there for a while, the equity just continues to grow. So I really benefited from that, but it was something that I've always enjoyed doing too, like being involved in some way with real estate.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about, like real estate investing. What would you recommend to somebody? We're going to get into the mindset piece in a minute, but what would you recommend to somebody who's just starting out and is thinking about investing in real estate?
Great question. What I would suggest is to connect with somebody like yourself that has this experience, that can help them, mentor them, and start basically. Don't start with something too big right off the hop. Get into something that that is manageable, and get your feet wet. Like, you don't want to be buying like a multifamily unit right off the bat if you don't have any real estate experience.
Right.
Get yourself into the groove of like, what does it mean to buy a home and then sell it, or what does it mean to buy a home and then rent it out and be a landlord? I think you have to go through those steps first before you can grow. So I would definitely recommend working with someone. Get a good agent, good mortgage broker, someone who knows the real estate game well, and start that way. Walk before you run.
Right. I totally agree, man. Totally agree. And you know what? If you're a new real estate investor, get yourself a coach, get yourself a mentor. If you have
Yes.
a friend who, may be in real estate, get in touch with these people. They're going to be able to help you, right?
Right.
As a real estate coach myself, Lorenzo, I, help my clients, which are mainly new real estate investors. But anyways, I hate them. I help them with mitigating their risk, right? There's an accountability factor.
Yeah.
And I mean, you can't, having a mentor period is really important to any business. I'm sure that you'll
It's
will
huge.
agree.
It's huge. It really, having a mentor is one of the best things anyone can have, and they should have, because you're going to be talking to someone who's actually lived it and is actually doing it. And you can see by the experience they have, they can help you, like literally you can shave years off of of the learning curve.
Correct.
And then when you talk to a mentor, or when you learn from a mentor with years of experience, there's things like, they say that, there's tricks to the trade or tips,
Yeah.
and things that they've learned maybe the hard way that they can pass on to you now and say, listen, don't do this. Right.
Correct.
And it can save a lot of heartache.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely. All right. So we've talked, a little bit about failures. We've had conversations, you and I, regarding
Yeah.
failures. I mentioned that there's a quote from the one of the CEOs of IBM, pretty much the guy who put IBM on the map. And
Yeah.
and basically he was asked, what would you do differently, right? In
Yeah.
your tenure with IBM. And he said, I would double down on failures, which I think it's a fantastic quote, very powerful. What do you think about, like failure? How has your experience been with it?
Honestly, it's one thing that, as I think, just as people in general, we fear failing, or fear of making the mistake. And the reason I believe is that we're afraid of, well, what will they say, or how will I look to others, or you know what I mean. So we get in our own head. But the thing is, with failure is not a bad thing if we learn something from it.
Right.
Every experience that comes our way that maybe we feel like we've failed,
Yeah.
well, what did we learn from it, right? And I can remember too, like, even though like I've been in business for over 22 years, it hasn't always been roses. It hasn't always been like upswing. There have been challenging years, years of challenge, where like, sometimes I'd question myself. I'm like, am I doing things right? Like, am I meant to continue on this road? But
Yeah.
the thing of it is that you can either learn and grow from it, or you can cave from it. And I've always taken the path to like step back, zoom out, and be like, okay, what is happening? How do I mitigate this? And then what can I learn from it? Because I'll tell you, like, if we never failed, we'd never appreciate the good things either, right? And I think we have to keep this in mind too. If there's a failure, quote unquote, well, we're failing by whose terms are we failing by?
Right.
And any lesson that we're learning, that's a lesson in time. It's only a short period of time, and move on.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. So the point is, don't be afraid, folks, to
No.
to make mistakes, number one, and don't be afraid to fail, right? You're
Yeah.
going to make mistakes along the way, and that is absolutely perfectly fine. And it is from those failures that you're going to grow, right?
Yeah.
So, again, I've failed many times in my life, right?
Right.
Both personally and in business. And the one thing that I always say to myself is if I fall 10 times, I'm going to get up 20, right?
Right. Right.
Because you have to have that kind of mindset in order to survive in a very competitive, real estate business and in general in business,
Yeah.
right? Business is competitive. So you have to
Yes.
be up for the game and you have to be able to, pick yourself up. There are things, called setbacks, right? And again, if you're in, if you find yourself having a setback, what I do is I tell myself it's only a small setback, right?
Right.
And and it will pass. So that way I prepare my mind so that I'm not sitting back and going, shit, I failed, right?
Yeah.
Instead, I say I'm gonna pick myself up 20 times every time I fall 10 times. But let's get
Right.
into a little bit of the mindset piece now.
Sure.
Talk to us a little bit. I know you have a very interesting story how you
Yeah.
came about knowing about the subconscious mind.
Yeah.
Again, I'm a big believer, and I research this topic over and over again.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your experience with how you came through, or somebody talked to you about the subconscious mind. How did that all play out?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Like, I think mindset is such a key thing that we have to harness. Um, and not because it's like, and I always say this too, like, Matt and I, my business partner and I, we talk a lot, we teach a lot about mindset. We talk about that like when we do public engagement, but also with our coaching clients. And the thing is, it's not because mindset is trending. Mindset is something we have to have, period.
Right, right,
And we have to have the right mindset. Otherwise, like what you were saying there, like if you're involved in any sort of business, there's competition, there's going to be challenges, there's going to be setbacks. If you're not mentally prepared, well, you're not going to be able to continue to go forward. You're not going to be able to grow. So my experience really, I've always been like, in tune with like having the proper mindset, like trying to look at things positively. If anything came up in life, I always tried to like problem solve it, but I'd have to pinpoint it to the year probably like 2016 going into 2017 where I got hit hard with it in the terms of like where I was in my life. I was previously married. I had multiple businesses at that time, and things just from a standpoint of like business, it didn't look like things were going well, and they weren't at one time. And a friend of mine recommended I look into this, and I did. I just started doing my research. I started listening to certain podcasts, reading certain books, and I started to really look into how conscious mind versus subconscious mind. What we see, with our conscious mind, but also started learning how the subconscious mind plays a bigger role, and our subconscious mind really takes in so much information, and it really impacts the way that we think and how we make decisions, and sometimes without us even knowing. Sometimes we can be almost on autopilot.
yeah,
And so I
yeah,
started to do like a lot of work on myself as a person, and just even changing my perspective on business and life in general. But I really learned that like we have to prime the subconscious mind. And what I mean by that is I learned what it meant to journal. And journaling for me has been like pivotal in shaping my life. And it's not just about writing the good things or not just writing about the bad things. Journaling is actually writing down pen to paper. Yes, it's emotions that we're feeling, it's thoughts, it's ideas, but it's also how we want to shape the way that we feel, the way we think, and the way we want to live. And not just from a today perspective, from a future perspective too. And so I always encourage anybody that I speak to via audience or as a client that put pen to paper, write down goals you may have, but also really get into it. What does that person, what do you want to look like? What do you want to feel like moving forward? And you have to get descriptive. And I found that when I started doing that, I really started to prime my subconscious mind of what I really wanted to learn and become and
right,
make the changes. So I can't overemphasize enough how important it is to journal and to really be like, you really have to immerse yourself into it. And once you
yeah.
start getting into a pattern, it's something that you won't want to stop doing.
Beautiful. That's
Yeah.
good, man. That's good. You know, everybody has their way, right? I mean, some people do journaling, some people do visualization, some people do
Yes.
meditations.
Right.
For those who do not know what the subconscious mind is, the subconscious mind is is the part of the mind that keeps all the programming, right? So,
Hmm.
for instance, when we were kids, we were taught how to ride a bike, right? And the
Right.
subconscious mind recorded that information, and you know, you'll never forget how to ride a bike once you know how to, and that's due to the subconscious mind. It's also the emotional part of the mind, which, you know, works on images, works on emotions and feelings, right? So you
Right.
can get, you know, go into depth as far as how the subconscious mind works. Bob Proctor is an author that I follow, who's the
Same.
expert. Yeah, he's the
Yeah.
expert in this area. And but yeah, and a powerful thing that that I've learned recently, I wouldn't say that recently, but 95% of our lives, Lorenzo, is run by our subconscious mind. Five
Hmm.
percent
Yeah.
is basically our conscious mind. Now think about that. 95%, which again, subconscious mind being beliefs, being
Mhm.
habits, being
Yep.
how you think about yourself, how you think about the world and your place in it. And so 95% of your life is run by the subconscious mind. So it's a really, really important topic that most people don't know about, right?
Right. Right. And it's so important too, because once you start to tap into like how you can also shape, you know, um, the way you want to live,
Mhm.
it absolutely changes everything. And the expression goes like the world is not as it is, but it's as you perceive it to be. So what's your perception of the world?
Right,
Right? Because
right,
that will become your reality. The way you perceive things becomes how you believe things are. So if we're constantly in a state of mind where things are more like pessimistic, like I wish I could do this, or I don't have as much. Well, that's kind of the reality that we're living. That's how the world's going to seem to us. It's going to be like from a view of lacking and wanting, where we can shift that into being like, I'm learning, I'm growing, I'm actually now having the things that like I want to have. And it's just a total shift in paradigm when we think about it.
yeah, absolutely. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about your business experience, right? So
Sure.
obviously you've mentioned you've got introduced to business
Hmm.
at an early age, and
Hmm.
you've carried on to other ventures.
Yeah.
What businesses are you currently managing, or are you currently managing at the moment?
Yeah. So the big one is the professional risk takers. That's where we're putting a lot of our energies these days.
Right.
Like I said, it is a digital media company. So we actually help businesses from A to Z. So for example, if someone is new to business and doesn't know even um, how to incorporate a business or how to get started or where to get going, how to write a
Okay.
business plan. We help our clients do all of that. But the
Okay.
other element too is that we
Yeah.
also take on clients that have been in business. Maybe
Right.
they're at a point where they're feeling a little bit like they've plateaued. Maybe
Right.
another set of eyes on it, helping them to see how they can optimize their business. What kind of procedures and policies that do they have in place? How can they scale the business? And we also can help with that.
Gotcha.
I've had experience in doing that as well, like scaling
Right.
businesses.
Right.
And so we help with that. But we also have another component to this business, whereas we also offer like a social media presence. So we can help people develop a social media presence in
Gotcha.
terms of like videography, photography,
Yeah.
having quality reels, just getting themselves more exposure, building their brand. But the
Mm-hmm.
other there's also another element where we're very much into health and fitness.
Okay.
So there is something that we're working on right now. It's
Mm-hmm.
going to be released soon. But what I can tell you is that we're working with like a corporate chain where we're going to be introducing like a health and fitness aspect, where it's going to be convenience and it's going to be quality products that are going to help us to be healthy and be able to have the quality products on the go. So that's something that
Okay.
we're actually like working on right now to, and once that's finalized, we're going to be launching that. That's one
Mm-hmm.
thing. And then there's another aspect of business that previously I did own another business where we did a lot of like construction work and construction services and maintenance. So right now I'm actually consulting with another company and helping them with the growth of their business in this type of field. So that's what's kind of keeping me busy these days, but
Gotcha.
always
Good
business
stuff.
related. I love venturing, right? So
Yeah, yeah. You may be a serialpreneur like I am.
oh, big time, big
Yeah,
time.
and I'm glad that you mentioned the whole health aspect.
Hmm.
I'm thinking about, selling some supplements product. I came across a company. Anyways, very interesting. If you're health conscious, right?
Hmm.
And you love, being health conscious, why not make money from it, right? You're already going to be, consuming the products anyways. Why not?
Right, and especially if it's a good quality product that you yourself can get behind. Like like I'm all about, like, if I'm going to promote something or use something, it's because it's actually good, and
Right,
I want
right.
someone else that if someone else is going to be using it, that they're going to benefit from it too. So I agree with you on that point. Like, if it's something that we can stand behind, that it's actually
Mhm.
a good product, why not
Yeah,
introduce it to the market, right?
yeah, absolutely. Okay, let's talk a little bit more about, paradigm, self-image. This is the
Hmm.
kind of stuff that I love
Yeah.
talking about, right? So, number one,
Yeah.
self-image. Tell us a little bit about, what self-image is, what it can do for you if you use it the
Yeah.
right way.
Yeah. Yeah. Self-image is the way that we view ourselves.
Yeah,
Okay. I think that um, people sometimes get caught up into the race of life. And, before you know it, a year, 5 years, 10 years can even pass by. And we're so busy that perhaps raising a family or building a business, and we kind of forget about ourselves. But we have to be careful with that, because we don't want to lose ourselves. And one day wake up and we're not well, or we're in a position where we didn't even know how we got here. And self-image really starts with us, how we view ourselves, and it's not just the way we look on the outside. More importantly, it's how we feel inside. We have to start not just liking ourselves, but loving ourselves. And we truthfully have to. A lot. How many of us can say honestly that we can look in the mirror and tell ourselves, I love you? And it doesn't matter. It's not just about aesthetics, it's how we feel inside. So
right.
self-image, you really have to start with yourself in the way that you think. And that's why we're so big on, you and I've had this conversation before on mindset. It's not just thinking positive thoughts and, like, it's all frilly. It's, you have to think positive. You have to also think realistically, and you have to set goals that you can attain one step at a time. So you have to build, like, self-image is something that will also increase your confidence,
Right.
right? When we're confident, we're able to live I believe, a better quality of life. When we're confident, we can go out, we can take on things, we can venture. We're generally more happy, and that's something that where a lot of people are unhappy, and they're unhappy because, wherever they are in life, they're not happy with themselves. So you got to start with yourself first, and really start loving yourself and learning who you are. It sounds cliche to say that, but it's the absolute truth. What makes us tick? For some people, they get into business, what is their why? And if we can find out what the why is for our business, why can't we figure out what the why is for ourselves as people? What's my biggest why? What is it that I want as an individual? Like, what kind of quality of life am I looking for? What kind of quality of life do I want to build for myself as a parent? What kind of a life do I want to build, not only just for myself, but for my children? So I understand I have to be a role model, I have to be a good example. So that
Mhm.
takes, me liking and loving myself. So self-image starts with that. But also self-image, it will also help you, like I said, gain confidence and be able to
Correct.
take on other things.
Yeah, definitely. Totally agree. And
Hmm.
the whole, I have an interesting story. I told you, I shared that with you, but I'm sharing with the audience now. When I was starting my career right after university as a, investment representative or what have you, I wanted to become a financial advisor. So
Hmm.
subconsciously, I would go into like a thrift store or, a place that sold suits, and I
Yeah.
would buy myself some suits. and
Hmm.
and it was all done subconsciously. I wasn't really thinking about like my next move at the time. I
Hmm.
was just starting my career. And then
Yeah.
what transpired from that was that, I think it was about a year and a half. I went from being an investment representative to an investment advisor assistant to a financial planner and then to a financial advisor. So it's
Hmm.
funny how self-image also has to do with your appearance, right? And how you
Yes.
conduct yourself professionally and really how you see yourself in the world, right? And
Yes.
and and how you see yourself with others too, because it's important, obviously in business, it's all about relationships, right?
Yes.
So you have to project the right type of self-image, the right type of attitude, obviously a positive attitude to your business partners.
Right. And on that point, like you're all good points here, because you know they say the expression goes, you need to dress for the job that you want, not the job that you have. And basically what
Correct.
that means is you need to prime yourself and get yourself in that state before it actually comes to you. So if we want something, or do want something to become a reality, we actually have to start living that way.
Right.
Right? Like, if, like your example, if you want to be a financial advisor, well, you don't
Mhm.
wait for the day to become to get appointed. You have to
Correct.
be that first. You have
Right.
to be that in the way that you think. You have to
Mhm.
educate yourself properly, learn the
Yep.
skills, and tell
Mhm.
yourself, I'm a financial advisor. And when the day comes that you get appointed to that position, then there you are. You are ready for that, and it's come
Right.
to you, right? And I
Yep.
think that goes in anything when it comes to business or life. It's that if we want something, we have to be that first.
Correct. Beautiful. All right. So, yeah, one of the things that, Lorenzo, I teach my students, right, is to have a belief that they can accomplish anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, as you mentioned, there's people that are ready for that kind of growth and people
Mm-hmm.
that need to take it one step at a time, right?
Mm-hmm.
That said, the belief and the fact that it's huge, believing that you're going to be able to accomplish a goal or something is huge and you actually accomplishing it. So, I'm sure you're familiar with Henry Ford's quote, if you think you can do it, then you will. If you
Yep,
don't, then you won't.
that's right.
Right? Yeah. So,
Absolutely
so,
correct.
so, so what do you think about, like how important is belief in your business?
It's everything. It's everything. If you don't have the belief that you can do it, doesn't matter what you do, it won't happen. And a lot of the people don't really grasp that, how the importance of that. You absolutely have to believe, like to a point where people might even think that you're a little bit crazy. And sometimes it seems crazy, but only because maybe that other person hasn't done it, or maybe you're the first person to do something of this type, and you absolutely have to believe. I think that a lot of people give up, not only on themselves but on whatever dream or goal they have, is because
Right.
they're timid, they're fearful, and they don't have the belief. You almost have to like brainwash yourself into thinking, yes, this is going to happen, and you
Yeah.
have to believe it through and through. Right? And
Yeah.
belief is everything, in my opinion. You have to believe it's going to happen.
That is absolutely correct. And by the way, to our audience, if you want to acquire a belief that you can accomplish something, all you have to do is exactly that. Just believe that you can do it. What happens on a biological basis is that your cells take on that belief. And then you start believing in it, and you go from it's not possible to it's possible to I'm in it. Right. And that's
Yeah.
what happened to me with real estate. But now I'm, obviously way beyond that in studying, Bob Proctor's material and the science of belief and all that. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but it is, it's incredibly important for you to have that mindset piece and that belief piece in your real estate business. So, Lorenzo, we're gonna start wrapping it up here.
Sure.
Tell us, what do you want to leave our audience with? I know we've talked about a
Yep.
lot of different things. What
For
one
sure.
thing that you want to leave our audience with this evening?
One thing that I would like to just to tell the audience is this: is that if you have an idea or a goal that you want to achieve, go for it. And what I mean by this is that a lot of times great ideas just stay ideas. There's so many ideas, Rommel, that you and I have never even heard of and probably won't hear of because people have kept it to themselves. And sadly, some may pass along in life and have a regret later that they didn't take action to do it.
Right.
So rather than have that, I would say if you have a plan or a goal, take action towards it. Even if it's just one step, one day at a time, take action towards it. Don't let that good idea or that great dream of yours just pass away. Right.
Right.
And go, just go for it. I mean, we always encourage our students, like, you know, do your due diligence, surround yourself with the right people. You know, if you're going to build a business, you're going to have key players. You're going to need an accountant, a lawyer, a mentor, all these things. So if you want an idea or a goal to really materialize, start surrounding yourself with people who have actually done it or are in the process of doing it successfully, and ask and surround yourself with them. See what they're doing, and just gain as much knowledge as you possibly can. And just don't let those great ideas just fizzle away. I would say go for it.
Right. Okay. Good stuff. So where can people find you, find more information on your
Yep.
coaching and